In this video, we're going to work through converting a fraction to a decimal. And there's a very specific process we go through when we do this conversion. To convert a fraction to a decimal, we use long division. To divide the numerator by the denominator. Continue to divide until you notice a pattern. This pattern could be ending with a remainder of 0, or the digits start repeating. When the digits start to repeat, you'll need to round. In example 1, we're asked to convert 7/8 to a decimal. So we'll use the numerator as the dividend. So 7 is the dividend, 8 is what you divide by, and up here will be the quotient. This is what we're looking for. Since I can't fit 8 items in 7 items, 7 is smaller than 8, we need to introduce a decimal and another place value. 8 will go into 70, so we can think of this as 70. Disregard the decimal in your calculations, but do put that decimal in the quotient. So this way you can keep track of where your decimals go. So now 70, 8 will go into 70 8 times because 8 times 8 is 64. We'll subtract that 64 from 70, and we'll be left with a remainder of 6. Now 8 won't go into 6, but we can introduce another 0, drop that down, and now we can think of it as 60. 8 will go into 60 7 times. 7 times 8 is 56. We'll subtract that 56 from 60, and we'll get a remainder of 4. 8 will not go into 4, so we need to introduce another 0. 8 will go into 40, and this time it will go in evenly. So 5 times 8 is 40, and so we have a remainder of 0. And we know that we're done because we now have a remainder of 0, and we're done with the long division. So to convert 7/8 to a decimal means that 7/8 is equivalent to 0.875. Now let's take a look at example 2. We are asked to convert 2/3 to a decimal. So the numerator is my dividend. The 3, or denominator, is my divisor. And since 3 does not go into 2, we need to introduce a decimal and another 0. So now 3 does go into 20 6 times. 3 times 6 is 18. If we subtract 18 from 20, we get a remainder of 2. And so now 3 will not go into 2, so I introduce another 0, drop it down, 20. And now 3 will go into 20 6 times. That's 3 times 6 is 18. My remainder, if I subtract 18 from 20, is 2 again. And you may start noticing a pattern. I'm going to go ahead and put that little decimal place up above my long division symbol. And so as you can probably see, I'm just going to have to keep introducing more zeros, and every time I introduce a 0, it will be a 20. So 3 times 6 is 18. Again, finding the difference, again, will be a 2. And this pattern is just going to keep on repeating forever. So what do we do in this type of a scenario? Because we know that 0.666 is going to continue on in this pattern forever. And so we have a little symbol that gives everyone the notation necessary to imply that it keeps on repeating forever. We just say that 2/3 is equivalent to 0.6 with a little bar over the top of it. This implies that it continues on forever. So if somebody says don't round your decimal, then you would write it as 0.6 with a bar on top.